listening to Freshly Squeezed.
Having that approach where I'm thinking like, right, I'm going to take that away, take that away, take that away. Does the song still work? And it does. You know that it's a good song.
Rosellas, EP Playback.
You're right, I'm Jim, and this is Freshly Squeezed, the go-to new music podcast, and we're trying something fresh on this episode of Freshly Squeezed. Rather than introduce you to a whole load of new bands, I'm going to deep dive with one of my favourites, because this, for the first time, is a full playback of a brand new EP. The EP is from Rosellas, and we're doing it in the company of the band themselves, or some of the band anyway. Drew and Ewan. How you doing, boys?
Yeah, mate.
Good, mate.
Dubious honour you guys have. The first ever band to appear on this podcast twice. So what do you feel prouder about? The new EP or the fact that you got to come on the podcast again? It must be a fine balance, that.
Podcast.
Yeah.
No question.
We'll go for a third.
How does it feel having this record in the world? Because it's a couple of weeks old now. It's had time to kind of be consumed and you've had a little bit of a reaction to it. Before we hit track number one, just set the scene for me. At this point, is it relief? Do you still feel nervous about hearing people's views on it? Are you just dead proud? What's the kind of mix of emotions?
Yeah, we're not nervous. It's pride more than anything, and like I said, relief. We're glad to finally have it out because we recorded this September last year, so we've been sitting on this for a while. So we're just like happy for it to be out, happy for people to hear it. Yeah, I suppose relief and pride. We're not nervous really.
So that's almost 12 months you've kind of had it in the bag.
Yeah.
How many times over that 12 months have you discussed, can we just go back and change that bit? Maybe we just need to tweak that.
To be fair, never.
Okay, that's good.
Like once it's done, it's done kind of thing. We've been busy with recording other stuff and planning other stuff, so we are quite good at kind of once it's done, it's done.
So the new EP is called Every Beautiful Night, but we'll come back to that shortly. First, let's hear a bit of track number one, Surrounded by the Light.
I saw through the echoes, the rise and fall of all I stood to be. A light from the shadows. Throughout it all, there's one thing clear to me. I became a dark inside. You were there, surrounded by the light. A full disorder in my mind. I see you there, surrounded by the light.
So that's the first track off the EP, Surrounded by the Light. How much pain goes over what becomes the very first tune on any record, whether it's an EP or something else, compared to, say, what song becomes the first single? Does it feel like that first track on an EP really needs to set the scene for the record?
Yeah, I think that this one came quite quick though, because we always had that. The whole EP starts with a reverse piano that we mic'd up through a guitar amp in the studio, and it's got that like cool sound effect on it at the start, Surrounded by the Light. So we knew we wanted the EP to start with that, and then when we got round to tracking I'm in Love with a Songbird, the ending of that has a similar kind of cool sound effect ending. It's got like a riser that kind of sucks the song away from your ears, do you know what I mean? So we knew what the first track was going to be, and we knew what the last track was going to be. And then within that, you just kind of make sequential sense when you listen to it front to back.
I was going to ask about that actually, because it is really interesting. You've got that swirly, almost Doves-esque thing going on at the start of Surrounded by the Light. And then, like you say, at the end of the EP, you've got I'm in Love with a Songbird, which does that kind of like, it's kind of almost like you're sucked into a hole, kind of like maybe it felt like. I wanted to know whether that was part of those songs originally or whether that was a result of where they were positioned on the album and you wanted to have this kind of intro and like outro feel to it.
I think it was the songs anyway. Like Drew said, they were both in the song anyway. And the cool thing about Surrounded by the Light is obviously it starts with this weird keyboard, piano-y sound, and then you kind of waiting to hear it again through the rest of the record, as opposed to just in that song. Like it could kind of come in at any point, and that kind of set the precedent for the rest of the EP, I think, that song.
That was in the original demo, that as well, wasn't it?
It was,
that piano never changed. Even the first time we demoed that in the studio, quite a while ago because it was a bit of an old song that it used to have different lyrics and melody, and that's always been in there. But I think with Songbird, we actually did that effect in the studio at the time. So it's kind of like Surrounded by the Light had its place early doors. Do you know what I mean? But then Songbird, we were like, that's a really cool way to end it. Let's put it at the end. Do you know what I mean?
I mentioned the Doves reference with that piano, and I think the opening track has got a feel of the early noughties about it, maybe the late 90s as well, which when we spoke last time, we kind of mentioned about those 90s influences. The harmonies over the guitars were a bit of a hallmark of the late Britpop era. Was that a musical reference point through this track? Is it that kind of late 90s, early noughties where you were heading?
I think it was just natural, really. The Surrounded by the Light, I think, is probably the like archetypical Rosellas song because, like you said, of the harmonies on the guitars and the melodies and all that. But it wasn't intentional. If that's what it sounds like, that's because it must have been what we were listening to when we wrote it or when we recorded it. It wasn't an intentional thing.
Well, let's move on to track number 2. It's called Happy Again. Cue it up for us. Give us something to listen out for on this one.
The drum machine at the start. We never done that before in a tune.
Right, we'll come back to that in a minute then. This is track number 2 on the EP, Happy Again.
Why'd you let somebody else tell you if you're happy? You've been down, but nevertheless, do you know if you're happy? Cause you see, to me, that in your hour of need, I'll be the one to catch you when you fall. Will you leave for me once more? As we begin, happy again. Do you feel as though the walls are closing in? On a life so close, you feel you're living in.
So that's track number 2, Happy Again, on Rosella's new EP. Massive tune that. In fact, most of this album feels really big. Was that something you consciously wanted to take into the studio? You wanted it to sound a certain way? And there's a big kind of movement at the moment. It's very vogue to make music that, despite it being produced in flashy studios, sounds really lo-fi and scratchy and punky. This isn't that.
I think when we were on here with you last time, we were talking about the kind of approach that me and Ewan had when it came to the songwriting. Instead of being additive and layering and layering and layering, we worked more subtractively. And everything in this EP sort of serves a purpose. Every little guitar part, every melody, every harmony, every effect. It's intentional and it's there for a reason. It's not there just for the sake of it. And I think in doing that, the overall product that's come out of the EP is more sort of streamlined compared to our older material. But with that, you're not necessarily diminishing the sound. You know, you can always think to yourself, like, a bigger sound is defined by 59 guitar tracks, like Noel Gallagher used to talk about in the Be Here Now era and all that. But it's not necessarily. You know, you can have limited instrumentation and things serving a very distinct purpose, but it's in the way that they're used and the impact that has that makes it sound big. Because I still think the record sounds big, but it's by far the least tracks we've ever had down on a record.
Yeah, I guess you hear the instrumentation. Instead of it being this kind of mud, you get to hear the soaring guitars and everything kind of has its own place.
Exactly, Mum. Exactly, yeah. And the ethereal kind of atmosphere in there, like Ewan's writing what he says about Surrounded by the Light and songs like that, that they're quite archetypal of our writing and our melody, our ear for melody. And all of those songs on that EP have an atmosphere of them. You know what I mean? There's a little bit of shoegaze in there, there's a little bit of psychedelia in there, there's just enough to sort of wet the taste buds while staying true to what we're about, you know.
Talk to me about this drum machine then. First time the band have done it, like you said. What made you do it? And how did Mark take to this, the news that his job was now being taken by a robot?
Imagine. Turn us to studio like you sacked me.
Yeah, the idea was to get every song on drum machine now.
Yeah, It just it came in the demo in that, didn't it, Ewan?
Yeah.
It was one of the later tunes on the EP to be written, and it used to just be an acoustic recording. And Ewan and I and the other lads in the band were all big fans of a band called War on Drugs. They have an album called Live Drugs, which is fantastic. You should all go and listen to it, anyone that's listening. And throughout their kind of set, they support the drums. And they do it on the records as well, but often the acoustic kit is either mixed in with a drum machine or there'll just be a drum machine on its own for a bit. And I think it sounds cool, man. And I just think we gave it a go, didn't we?
Yeah, it's like New Order as well. Like they did that.
Yeah.
Have a drum machine and the drummer. I mean, let's not get carried away. We probably won't do it again for a long time. And it's just at the start of that one song. But I thought it was quite cool how when the drums come in, they have more impact.
Yeah. Yeah, they do.
All right, well, let's move on with the next track off this album. It's Get Over Yourself. We'll have a little bit of this one and come back in a sec.
Baby, get over yourself. That could take a little more time till you get it right. You're driving yourself crazy. Be good to yourself, crying every beautiful night till you get it right. 'Cause I'm there for all of the things you care for, all of the things you
Slightly different Freshly Squeezed today. Normally you can listen to a handful of my favourite new artists talking about their brand new tunes, and we get to hear some of those tunes today, but from just one band. If you like the sound of that, by the way, click subscribe, click follow, you get a notification when the new episodes are ready. But for today, like I say, just one band on the lineup, and that is Rosellas, a full EP playback, and we've just heard Get Over Yourself. Some very Johnny Marr-esque guitar in there. It's kind of got bright and jingly feel to it. Is he one of your musical heroes, Ewan?
Yeah, definitely. That's it. Yeah, that's interesting. It has got a bit of that. With this one, it's more. I don't think it's as heavy. You know, like Happy Again's quite heavy. Like the guitars are quite distorted. But this one, it doesn't really have that in it. But yeah, definitely Johnny Marr. Yeah.
Do you think about the flow of a record when you're putting it together, that you want something dark and then something light and something happy, something sad? You kind of want to take people on a journey as you're putting the tracks together.
Yeah, yeah. I think the good thing with this one is it kind of like ebbs and flows. You know, like you would with a set list. You don't want it to just be fast, slow, because people lose interest. So I think with this one, it does ebb and flow quite well. And I suppose, yeah, it's a bit of a journey.
Bit of a 22-minute journey. It's hardly dark side of the moon, is it?
Also, I think I spotted it in this track. This is the song that gives the EP its name.
That's it.
Hey.
You're the only person who spotted it.
There you go.
Yeah,
Boom. How long does it take to make that decision? And what other names did you have on the list? Because I imagine it's probably, ultimately, it's probably one of the least important things you have to do when you're making an EP or an album, right? You kind of like, you have to focus on the songs, you have to focus on maybe the art. You're saying this.
Yeah, I mean, do you know what is interesting about that? It was called Surrounded by the Light at first.
Yeah.
Like we said, the whole EP kind of came from that song. So it made sense to call the EP that. But then we kind of went off the idea, didn't we? And Surrounded by Light is quite long. Like if you write it down, it looked quite long. And Every Beautiful Night was the line, in that song. And that was the obvious one. Like as soon as we thought of that, it was like, well, that's what the EP is going to be called. Do you know what? I think we had that first. Like we had the line, and I think, we need to try and get this into a song, and it fit into that, and it was like, well, there you go, that's the name of the EP.
It was
quite an easy decision, wasn't it?
I'm pretty sure you had it as either like a single lyric or a title for something, and then when it came to rewriting Get Over Yourself in the form it used to be, we managed to get that in, and we were like,
shoehorned it right.
Yeah, banging, that'll do.
I'm a big fan of it. I like it when the song title is hidden in the record somewhere rather than it being one of the tracks. I think it's the way to go. I'm all for it.
Yeah, it makes you seem a bit more clever, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit subtle. Right, Eyes of the World up next. As featured on the previous Freshly Squeezed, and we had you on, actually. We talked about this one. Tee this track up for me.
Yours, Ewan.
Tune.
Nice, just tune. Does the job. Let's have a look.
worlds collide and hide behind my every state of mind.
So Eyes of the World, written in lockdown 5 years ago now. How did it take, or why did it take so long for that tune, written 5 years ago, to finally make its way into the world? Was it that it just never felt right to this point, or were you hanging on to it for something special? What's the story?
It was going to be on somewhere in between the EP that we did. Was it 2023 that came out?
22, yeah.
It was going to be on that, but it didn't fit because it was a bit slower than what it is now, and it was a bit more acoustic, and some of the chords and the melody weren't what they are now. And for whatever reason, we didn't really like it, but we all knew there was something in it. So when it came to getting the tunes together for this EP, we kind of thought, well, we'll try this again, but work it in a different way. And luckily it worked. So we made it a lot heavier than what it used to be. And yeah, I think it's now become, a very strong song, whereas had it come out 2 years ago, whatever, it probably wouldn't have been as good.
I remember when we did speak last time when you came on the podcast, you talked about how the writing had become more direct, simpler, more stripped back on this song particularly. Yet this was 5 years ago. Is that a process that you went through with a lot of kind of maybe those tracks from earlier in your band's history where you went, well, this didn't quite work at the time when we were layering stuff and going multiple guitar tracks. Let's go back to the roots of it and rebuild?
No, because they're all rubbish, apart from that one.
It was a bold statement. No, I think we did. We knew that there are some songs where we were doing that even back in the day a little bit, but we've mentioned a few times, some of the tunes that are on this EP, we had kicking about for a little while. And like Ewan says, we just weren't happy with them. So I think in the process of reapproaching it, rewriting it, that's where we started to work more subtractively. Because we do these things on our socials where we'll do the behind the song kind of post where I'll bring up some old demos of the tunes, little 15-second clips of it and that. And if you just listen to the mix and the balance of the instruments, they are so much busier, man. There's so much going on that you're almost losing the essence of the song in the majority of the old demos of these. So I think when you know that the studio's getting nearer and you finalise the lyrics, you finalise the melody, when I'm sat here refining the demos and stuff, having that approach where I'm thinking right, I'm going to take that away, take that away, take that away, does the song still work? And it does. You know that it's a good song. Do you know what I mean? The bread and butter is still there. Doesn't matter if it was written 5 years ago and you've just changed it or it was written last week.
Final song on the album, I'm in love with a songbird. I'm a big fan of a song title with brackets, by the way, so I'm going to do it properly. Open brackets, I'm in love with a close brackets songbird. Slightly different tone and style to this one. I'd say the first 4 tracks on the EP I recognise as Rosellas tunes. This one is a bit different. It feels a little bit shimmery, almost a ballad. Is this a hint at what's coming next from the band? You're kind of finishing the EP with a hint of the next phase, or is it not that deep?
It's a moody tune, this one, man. It's a moody tune, and I think we've always had those kind of sides to our sound. If you listen back to the Somewhere in Between EP and all that, Hideaway and Come Alive, we have that darker side to our songwriting and our melodies, as well as the side that's Get Over Yourself and Eyes of the World. So I like this song a lot because it shows a bit of an edge.
If I could be the only one to hold you when the nights are drawing in, hide behind the memory and sing without the melody within. Everything will fall apart and leave behind a broken heart again. I close my eyes to hear her sing, the only thing that matters in the end, and I'll pretend I'm in love with a songbird. She's like the setting sun. We don't know how to belong here. Our love is never enough.
So that's it, final track of of Rosellas' new EP, I'm in love with a songbird, open brackets, I'm in love with a close brackets, songbird, that's it. New EP wrapped up, and it kind of feels like a bit of a punctuation mark, this, on what has been a really big year for the band, your biggest year to date when you look at the gigs you've played and what you've achieved and the deals you've signed as well. How's it feeling in the camp at the moment internally? Does it feel like it's a bit of a wrap on a period of work, or does it feel like it's the start of what's coming next?
Interesting. It feels like both. So listening to the EP as a whole, it takes me back to, when we recorded it. There's a lot of gigging, a lot of traveling, a lot of driving up and down the country. And the EP cover, I think, was taken out of the window of the tour van.
Okay.
So it has that kind of feeling to me to it. But it's also exciting because I think it's the best stuff we've ever done. And like you said, maybe not that song in particular, but I think the whole EP is kind of like, this is what we're going to be doing now. So yeah, it is a bookmark of one side of it, but it's the start of the rest of it. And it's, for us, it's really exciting.
The hard work is only just beginning, mate. We've got to push on even more now.
Yeah, we can enjoy it for now.
What is next? What is the hard work? I mean, EP's out the way. Is it thinking about a next EP? Dare you start thinking about debut albums anytime soon? How does it look?
Yeah, I mean, we're always thinking about that. We're always thinking about what we can do next. Like I said before, we are writing, recording more stuff. Whatever form that takes, we don't know yet. But me and Drew are always writing. So if tomorrow, the record label say you need to put your debut album out, we would have enough stuff to do it. But it's a question of like making it a body of work, as opposed to 10, 12 songs that just we throw together.
And what about the opportunity to hear these songs in the flesh? What's coming up in terms of live dates?
So we've got a few live dates between now and the back end of the year, ever expanding, ever more adding to them and stuff. So you can find them all on our website, which is rosellasband.com. The biggest one that we're pushing for is the next Manchester headline. That's going to be on Saturday, the 8th of November at New Century Hall. We're all very, very excited for that. It's been a while since we've done a big Manchester one, so it's good to be back in the ring doing it.
Nice one. I will be there.
Yeah, man, 100%.
Well, good luck with the EP. Always a pleasure to get new music from you, and always a pleasure to chat as well. So nice one for coming on.
Nice one, Jim.
Appreciate your time, Jim. Nice one, mate.
I'm in love with a songbird. She'll feel the same someday.
There we go. Done. What do you reckon to that? More of that kind of thing? Less of that kind of thing? You have the power to tell us what to do on Freshly Squeezed. Get into the comments if you're on Spotify and tell us whether you want more EP playbacks, less EP playbacks, more of the regular shows, musical recommendations, that whole kind of thing. If you're listening on Apple, you can do it in the form of a review. As long as it's a 5-star review, I don't really mind what you say, but I will read the comments and I will take on board the feedback. So please do get in touch. And if you've not done so already, make sure you're subscribed to this podcast. If you came for Rosellas, if you're a big fan, well, click subscribe, because that probably means you're a fan of new music and finding the next big thing. And we've got plenty of that in the pipeline on Freshly Squeezed, where I will see you next time. Cheers to your ears.
Freshly Squeezed, a new music podcast, was devised, produced and hosted by Jim Selby. Sound design and additional production by Ant McKinley. The music, Blue Blazer, is written and produced by Spin Class. Stop.